Ashraf Garda. Connect on Twitter at Ashraf Garda.
Right, so let's talk about Sudan. I understand 99, somewhere there, close to 100 people have died because of some attacks over the last few days. To try and understand what the attacks are about, who's attacking who, and what the implications are, let's cross then to Shakoor Nyaketo, who's a journalist based in Sudan. Shakoor, appreciate your time. Good morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning to you, Salam Media.
Thank you so much, Shukran, for that. Right? Okay. I've said so. Just under 100 people have died. What's happened? What's the issue?
Actually, the number is even more because there is no accurate number of how many people died because there is no any medic teams who can come and actually know the exact number. I was in a hospital because even my brother was shot in there. Big number of people inside the hospital are dying because of medical aid. And the shooting is still on. I can hear it right now from where I live.
Okay, well, I mean that's really bad news, right? What's the issue? The shooting is between who and whom?
The shooting is right now between the army and the rapid support forces. As the rapid support forces is capturing, strategic places right now, and the army, if the army involved with full power, the citizens will have more casualties. So the army tries to deal with them professionally, but there is no any way that the army should use full power. Now they're using even rockets and aircraft, and they are fighting too much actually now between the RSF and the army.
And what's the point of difference? I mean, what's the reason for the fight in the first place?
Well, the reason is actually the political situation is unresting ever since al-Bashir fought. And now they were trying to make political agreement between the army, the militants, and the civilians. But there is a suggestion of rapid support forces integration into the army. And that has not pleased the Hemeti, the leader of rapid support forces. So the disagreement, the main reason is to integrate the army, the RSF in the army. And Al-Burhan sees that if the army is not integrated, there will be a very big problem. And now that's the problem between Hemeti and Burhan, just because of the integration.
I mean, I'm just thinking, when you have the army on the one hand fighting with an extended army of sorts, right? The conditions for this sort of thing to blow up into something much bigger is there, isn't it? I mean, that's a huge concern, isn't it?
I'm sorry, can you come again?
I was saying when you have violence between, on the one hand, the army and then a paramilitary. So that means an army extension, also both military groupings, right, fighting with each other. That means both are armed. The opportunity for this thing to grow into something much bigger in the Sudan is much greater. And that is a huge worry, right? Are you?
Actually, I'm sorry to ask again. I'm not very clear because
no problem. Yeah. Let me ask you this: Are you worried? Are you worried? Are you concerned that this current battle between the army and the rapid support forces can escalate into something much, much bigger?
Escalating because right now the attacks are not only in the capital but almost in across the country, every state. Of the 18 states, we have more than 10 cities are right now under attack. So the problem is that because the rapid support forces has been, deployed everywhere in Sudan, there is no city that the rapid support forces are not existing. So that's what makes them actually capturing a lot of places. And the situation, if there is no any ceasefire, the situation will get even worse because they will not stop. The RSF said they will not stop only if if Al Burhan surrender, and Al Burhan said I will not stop only if I finish them.
The and the people. What are the people saying? I mean, you have two groups fighting. I mean, are the people supportive of one group over the other?
Not really. People do not support each of them because people now they are suffering for their lives, and there is nobody supporting any of this war because now the people are suffering. There is no service, there is no medicine, there is no hospital, no water, electricity is not available. Even the supermarket and shops are closed. There is no anything that people can live on. So they don't support any part. They just want this war to stop so that people can get back to normal life.
Okay. Has there been any comments, any pressure from international groupings? Let's start with the African Union. Then there could be a union of, let's say Islamic countries, and then the United Nations. Is anybody saying anything? Can they stop this?
There is no. There are a lot of requests, and the Arab League yesterday, or the Arab organization yesterday, met and talked about the situation, and they just implore and ask the two leaders to stop. And also, the United Nations has suggested just 4 hours ceasefire for safe passage to the people who are stranded somewhere. But the fighting did not stop until the 4 hours safe passage ceasefire has finished. The African Union and the IGAD, they have suggested that people should stop, but nobody listens. Also, the Kenyan president, who is the South Sudanese president, they have suggested that they would want to come to Khartoum in order to see how they can try to stop. But there is no way for that.
And all of that is very, very worrisome. And I'll tell you what, we certainly will follow the story in the days ahead. I hope there's peace. One, because war is just not right. The casualties are the civilians, inevitably. Then to top it off, it's also Ramadan, the last few days before Eid. Appreciate your time. Thank you so much for that, Shakoor.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Shakoor Nyaketo. Shukran for that. And huge concern between military and then effectively a paramilitary grouping in Sudan. And what do the people think about it? Well, bluntly, with this sort of thing, it appears like who cares? They have their own spats, and that is a situation repeated on so many issues and conflict spots all around the world, often in South Africa as well too. Let's talk about the goings on around the Gupta brothers, to be extradited or not to be extradited. What's the story? Fidel Haffiji comes up next.